Chosen one. Have you ever felt that you're being watched? Maybe it's a glance from someone you don't recognize or an odd pattern of events that just doesn't sit right. What if I told you that the government has taken notice of you? Yes, you. This isn't paranoia or coincidence. Your influence has grown beyond what you can see. And now, those in power want to know who you truly are. They're aware of your unique energy, your awakening, and the changes you're bringing to those around you. This isn't about fear. It's about understanding that you've stepped into a role so significant. Even the most secretive institutions can't ignore it. And once you understand why they're watching you, everything in your life will begin to make sense. Stay with me as we uncover what this attention means, what they're seeking, and what it says about your divine mission. If this resonates with you, like this video and comment 77. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and click the super thanks button to support the channel. Let's dive into what it truly means to be chosen in the eyes of those who thought they could control everything until you came along. Why the government studies chosen ones. Since the earliest days of organized society, those in power have worked to maintain strict control over information, belief systems, and cultural narratives. This control is their foundation, an intricate web of systems designed to keep people within carefully defined boundaries. But every so often, an individual appears who doesn't fit those boundaries, someone whose spiritual insight and resilience make them impossible to contain. Perhaps you felt in your own life the sense that you're being watched not by accident, but because of something deep within you. This isn't a fleeting paranoia or coincidence. It's a pattern. You carry a presence that cannot be ignored, and it's only natural that those who rely on order and predictability will be compelled to observe and understand you. From ancient times to the modern era, such individuals have been monitored, not for what they've done, but for who they might become. The journey of a chosen one is rarely straightforward. It's filled with moments of doubt, times when you wonder why challenges arise just as you're starting to find clarity. You may feel isolated, like no one understands the weight of the calling you're beginning to embrace. This emotional weight is not imagined. It's the result of stepping into a reality that threatens the status quo. Consider those times when you felt blocked, as though invisible forces were trying to prevent you from moving forward. These obstacles often feel deeply personal, even though they stem from something much larger. The truth is, the powers that be, whether governments, institutions, or other elite entities, are not concerned with you as an individual. They're concerned with what you represent. A potential catalyst for change, a disruption to their carefully curated control. Throughout history, sacred texts have hinted at this dynamic. In Matthew 2, verse 16, King Herod ordered the death of all male infants in Bethlehem out of fear. He didn't know which child might rise to challenge his authority. So he cast a wide net, driven by the sheer terror of losing his throne. Similarly, when a modern chosen one begins to awaken, those in positions of control often feel a shift before the individual themselves does. They can sense the growing power, the clarity of purpose, and the influence that could ripple outward. It's not personal animosity. It's systemic self-preservation. They study you not because they hate you, but because they fear the change you might bring. They seek to understand what makes you different, your insight, your connection to a higher purpose, so they can neutralize it before it spreads. As you continue on your journey, you'll notice subtle yet undeniable signs that your presence has been recognized. You might see patterns emerge, unexpected obstacles, strange coincidences, or people in positions of influence taking an unusual interest in you. At first, these signs may feel random or insignificant, but over time, they reveal a larger picture. It's as though the universe itself is placing a spotlight on you, forcing those in power to pay attention. These signs aren't meant to intimidate you. They're meant to confirm your growing role in the spiritual awakening taking place. Like a faint light piercing a thick fog, these signs help you recognize the impact you're having, even when it feels as if you're still finding your way. What's happening is more than observation. It's an alignment of forces beyond what you can see. You're not simply being watched by human institutions. You're being guided by divine timing. This observation is not a random occurrence, but a reflection of your readiness to step into your purpose. The universe has a way of highlighting those who are meant to lead, ensuring they cannot remain hidden forever. You may feel like a small piece in a vast puzzle, but your influence is steadily growing. and those who rely on the old ways can feel it. While they may try to study, analyze, and even manipulate the situation, their efforts only serve to highlight just how significant your role has become. With this recognition comes a moment of clarity, a realization that the attention you're receiving isn't a burden, but an honor. Many people shy away from being noticed, afraid of the pressure it might bring. But to truly align with your calling, you must embrace this attention. It's not about ego or validation. It's about acknowledging that your path was never meant to remain hidden. By stepping fully into your role, you show others that it's possible to walk the path of a chosen one with grace, resilience, and purpose. You become a living example of what it means to remain grounded and focused, even when all eyes are on you. And in doing so, you shift the balance, not just for yourself, but for everyone watching. Now that you see the larger picture, it's time to move forward with intention. Rather than fearing the watchful eye of institutions, use it as a reminder that you're making an impact. Trust that the same forces guiding your path will protect and sustain you. Stay committed to your spiritual practices, keep learning, and never lose sight of the bigger mission. This attention is not a roadblock. It's a signal that you're stepping into a role that matters. Embrace it, grow through it, and continue on your journey knowing that you are not alone. The forces that once sought to control are now witnesses to your awakening, and the best is yet to come. If this resonates with you, comment, observe below, and share what you've experienced. Together, we can stand strong, knowing that this journey is ours to walk, and that no system can ever truly contain the light we carry. Signs that you are being watched. At first, the signs can be so subtle that you almost convince yourself they don't matter. You notice a car parked on your street at unusual hours, the same one that seems to show up just when you're stepping outside. A message from a stranger appears in your inbox, friendly enough, but oddly specific about topics you haven't shared widely. Perhaps a simple post on social media suddenly garners attention from people or accounts you don't recognize. It's all so faint, so scattered, that you tell yourself it must be a coincidence. But then it starts to happen more frequently. The pattern becomes undeniable. These aren't random occurrences, they're deliberate. Comment lead if you feel ready to step into your power. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community. A private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily. Join the Prop Hair membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. Leadership through love, not ego. It's been confusing, hasn't it? The way they look at you, questioning why you choose the quiet path when others shout. They don't understand why you don't chase the spotlight, why you don't retaliate when provoked, why you don't play by the same rules. You've seen the skeptical glances, heard the muttered doubts, and in those moments, you might have wondered if they were right, if maybe you should be louder, push harder, or demand more. But something in you resisted that pull. Something in you whispered that power doesn't come from shouting the loudest, and that your strength doesn't need to be announced to be real. Deep down, you've always known that the world doesn't need another ruler driven by ego. It needs a leader grounded in love. And that's exactly why you were chosen. It hasn't been easy, though. You've likely felt the weight of moving against the grain, standing firm in a world that rewards domination and aggression. You've watched others climb faster, using tactics you'd never consider. You felt left behind at times, wondering if your refusal to cut corners or betray your values has made the road unnecessarily hard. But your soul knows the truth. It knows that your purpose isn't about following the world's playbook. It's about creating a new one. One where leadership isn't measured by how many people bow to your will, but by how many lives are lifted by your presence. And that can feel heavy, especially when the world's definition of success screams at you from every direction. But the heaviness isn't a sign that you're on the wrong path. It's proof that your path is real, that your impact is deep, that your love is reshaping the very foundation of what leadership can be. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, showed us what it means to lead from love. He said, "The strong is not the one who overcomes the people by his strength, but the strong is the one who controls himself while in anger." It's a reminder that real power comes from restraint, not force. Compassion is not weakness. Kindness is not a lack of authority. The greatest leaders in history didn't inspire loyalty through fear. They inspired it through love, through understanding, through a willingness to serve. And this is the path you're being called to walk. not one of control, but of transformation. The strength you carry isn't the kind that forces others to follow. It's the kind that compels them to trust, to grow, to believe in something greater. And that kind of leadership is rare, because it requires a heart willing to stay soft, even when the world tries to harden it. As you walk this path, you've likely begun to notice a shift. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard when you speak. People lean in, not because you demand it, but because they can feel the sincerity behind your words. You don't have to remind others of your authority. Your actions quietly reinforce it. It's as if the very atmosphere around you changes when you step into a room. Not through intimidation, but through a steady, grounded presence that reassures those around you. The world may not immediately recognize this kind of leadership, but it's undeniable. And as others start to see it, they begin to follow not because they have to, but because they want to. They begin to realize that your strength comes from a place they didn't expect, a place that feels more stable, more enduring, and more real. What you might not see yet is how many lives are being shaped by your example. Every time you choose compassion over anger, you plant a seed in someone's heart. Every time you stand firm in your values without forcing them onto others, you inspire courage in those watching. And every time you serve without expecting recognition, you show that leadership is not about accolades. It's about impact. This isn't a role you sought out, but one you've grown into. And now, the work you've done quietly is starting to ripple outwards. The relationships you've built, the trust you've earned, the small, steady changes you've made in the lives of those around you. These are the true marks of leadership. They're not loud or flashy, but they're undeniable. They're the kind of changes that don't just shift a moment, they shape the future. Still, there's a moment of choice. Some people resist this kind of leadership because it asks for more than they're used to giving. It asks them to be open, vulnerable, and accountable. It asks them to let go of the ego-driven need for constant validation and instead find strength in service. But the truth is, this kind of leadership is not about perfection. It's about showing up every day with a commitment to do what's right, even when it's hard. It's about embracing the responsibility of your role, not as a burden, but as a sacred calling. This is your moment to fully step into that calling, to stop doubting whether your way is enough, to stop wondering if you should change who you are to fit their expectations. You don't need to. You've already proven that leadership through love is not only possible, it's powerful. Now, it's time to walk forward with confidence. The doubts that once whispered in your ear are fading, replaced by a deep, steady assurance. You know who you are, you know what you stand for, and you know that the world needs more leaders like you, leaders who transform rather than control, who inspire rather than intimidate. The more you lean into this truth, the more your impact will grow. And as you continue on this journey, you'll find that the path becomes clearer. The choices that once felt so hard will become second nature. The strength that once felt fragile will become unshakable. Because this is who you are meant to be. This is the kind of leader the world needs now more than ever. If this resonates with you, comment love below. It's time to fully embrace the truth you've known all along. That real leadership comes from love, not ego. That your strength isn't found in how much you control, but in how deeply you care. And that every step you take, rooted in love, is building a world that others can believe in. This is your calling. This is your legacy. And it's just a beginning. Your vision is reshaping reality. Have you ever wondered why certain thoughts, ideas, or visions linger in your mind long after others fade? You've felt it. That deep pull towards something more meaningful, something more expansive. It's not just ambition. It's not just imagination. It's the unmistakable sense that you're here to create, to lead, and to leave a mark that can't be erased. Maybe you've doubted it at times. Maybe you looked around at a world that seems fixed in its ways and thought, what could I possibly change? But those doubts haven't stopped the dreams. If anything, they've sharpened them. They've pushed you to refine your vision, to revisit your purpose, and see that those ideas weren't random at all. They were planted within you for a reason. Every thought that refused to fade, every quiet inspiration that returned even after you tried to ignore it. Those are the first signs of a blueprint that only you can bring to life. The path hasn't always been clear, has it? You've likely faced moments where your vision felt too big, Too daunting, too out of reach. You might have shared your dreams with others only to be met with skepticism or misunderstanding. Maybe you've even questioned yourself. What if this is just wishful thinking? What if I'm chasing something that will never happen? That tension is part of the journey. The tension between what is and what could be. It's a hard place to sit because you know that staying the same is an option. You can feel the gap between the world you see now and the one you're meant to create. And that gap can feel like a chasm, one that's too wide to cross. But here's the truth. Every great architect of change felt that gap. They felt and stepped forward anyway, because the world you're envisioning isn't meant to remain a dream. It's meant to become reality. And it's your vision that will bring it into being. Think of Moses. When he stood before the Red Sea, there was no visible path forward. There was no road, no bridge, no guidebook, and yet his faith and his vision opened the way. Exodus 14 verse 16 tells us that Moses stretched out his hand over the sea and the waters parted. He didn't follow a path that was already there. He created it. Your journey may feel similar. The world around you might not reflect the reality you know is possible. There may be no clear roadmap, no obvious instructions, but that doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're the one who's meant to draw the map. The ideas that won't leave you alone. The decisions you made based on what feels true rather than what feels easy are the modern-day equivalent of parting the sea. They're the first steps towards shaping a reality that aligns with heaven's values, compassion, justice, and truth. You've probably started noticing the early signs of transformation. Maybe it's a small shift in the way people respond to your ideas. Perhaps you've seen opportunities arise where none existed before. Or maybe it's a quiet confidence you feel when you take actions that align with your vision, even if no one else understands them yet. These shifts might seem subtle, but they're not. They're the first ripples of a much larger wave. Every time you speak your truth, the energy around you changes. Every choice you make that aligns with your higher purpose creates a new piece of the world you're building. It's as if the universe itself is beginning to recognize your blueprint, to reflect it back to you in unexpected ways. These signs are not coincidences. They're confirmations. They're proof that your vision is not just a dream. It's a reality in progress. As the pieces come together, you'll start to sense a greater force at work. It's as though the challenges you faced, the doors that once seemed closed, and the setbacks that made you question everything were all part of a larger design. When you look back, you'll see that even the obstacles played a role in shaping your path. The people who doubted you taught you to trust your own inner knowing. The opportunities that didn't materialize forced you to refine your vision. The delays and detours strengthened your resolve. And now, as you step into this next chapter, it becomes clear that none of it was wasted. The synchronicities, the breakthroughs, the sudden moments of clarity. These are the signs of divine alignment. They're the markers that let you know you're exactly where you're supposed to be. But understanding that your vision is reshaping reality is only the beginning. Now comes the moment of choice. This is where many people hesitate, where they pull back because they fear the responsibility of creating something new. It can be tempting to wait for more certainty, more validation, more guarantees. But true alignment requires more than recognition. It requires action. This is the moment to trust that what you see in your heart is real. This is the time to step into your power and claim the reality you know is possible. The shift you've been waiting for won't come from the outside. It will come from within. And as you embrace your role as the architect of this new reality, you'll find that the path forward becomes clearer with each step you take. With each decision, you'll grow more certain. The doubts that once whispered in the back of your mind will fade as your confidence builds. You'll see how your unique perspective, your courage to dream big, and your willingness to act have the power to create lasting change. The world is not static. It's constantly evolving, and your vision is part of that evolution. The reality you're shaping isn't just for you. It's for everyone who will benefit from the compassion, justice, and truth you're bringing into the world. As you continue to lead with love, as you continue to act with intention, the impact of your vision will ripple outward, and that ripple will grow, touching lives, inspiring others, and creating a legacy that can't be erased. If this resonates with you, comment Blueprint below. It's time to own the truth you've known all along. Your vision isn't just an idea. It's a reality waiting to be built. and you are the one who will build it. You are the architect, the leader, the creator. This is your time. The world is ready for the reality you're shaping. And the more you step into that truth, the more the world will reflect it back to you. This is your moment to lead. This is your moment to create. This is your moment to step forward and watch as the reality you've always seen becomes a reality we all live in. Sacred solitude forged your authority. You've always felt a quiet knowing, haven't you? Even when no one was looking, even when there were no cheers or applause, you felt the weight of something greater on your shoulders. In those moments when you stood alone, without validation, without recognition, you still showed up. You kept building. You kept learning. You kept growing. And now, as you look back, you realize that it was in those silent, unglamorous moments that your real strength was born. The world may only see the surface now, the results, the authority, the influence, but you know the truth. Your foundation was laid in solitude. Your authority was forged when no one was watching. It hasn't always been easy. The silence can feel heavy. The doubt can creep in. There were days when you asked yourself if it was worth it. Why keep going when no one seemed to notice? Why keep striving when the world seemed so indifferent? Yet, every time you felt that uncertainty, something inside you said, not yet, keep going. Those long nights of reflection, those whispered prayers, those moments of stillness, they weren't wasted. They were shaping you into the leader you become. They were teaching you resilience, wisdom, and clarity. In a world that glorifies instant gratification and visible success, you chose to trust the slow, quiet process of growth. You chose to believe that what you were building in secret would one day stand firm in the light. Think of David before he became king. He wasn't in the palace. He was in the fields, tending sheep, protecting them from lions and bears, learning to lead not by title, but by action. When the moment finally came for him to step into his calling, he didn't need the approval of the crowd. He had already proven himself in the silence. Psalm 78 verses 70 to 72 tells us that God chose David as servant and took him from the sheep pens. From tending the sheep, he brought him to be the shepherd of his people. David's authority wasn't based on recognition. It was built in solitude. And just like David, your authority was not handed to you. It was earned in the unseen moments. The moments when no one was applauding, when no one was telling you how great you were. That's when you truly became who you are now. And now, you may have started to notice a shift. People listen when you speak, not because you demand their attention, but because your presence carries weight. You don't need to shout to be heard. Your words resonate because they come from a place of genuine strength, hard-won wisdom, and unshakable integrity. You've grown comfortable in your own skin. You become someone who doesn't need external validation to know their worth. And that kind of quiet confidence, it can't be faked. It can't be manufactured. It's the result of years spent building a foundation that no storm can knock down. Your stillness now commands more than noise ever could. Behind the scenes, something much larger was happening. What felt like waiting was really preparation. What felt like isolation was really a time of deep alignment. You were being positioned. You were being shaped. The struggles you faced, the long stretches of silence, the moments of doubt, they were all part of a bigger plan. They weren't detours. They were essential steps on the journey. They taught you to trust in the timing, to rely on your inner strength, and to connect more deeply to your higher purpose. As you look back, you can see how the pieces fit together. The stillness was never empty. It was filled with the quiet work of transformation, setting the stage for the impact you're now beginning to see. But here's where the real transformation happens. Recognizing that your authority was forged in solitude is only the first step. The next step is fully embracing it. Many people resist this moment. They think they need more titles, more recognition, more external markers of success before they can step into their authority. But you know better. You've already done the work. You've already proven yourself, not to others, but to yourself. This is the moment where you stop waiting for permission and start fully stepping into your role. It's not about being ready someday. It's about realizing you're ready now. True authority doesn't come from the outside. It comes from within. With this realization, you're no longer bound by the need for external approval. You know that your strength was built in the quiet places, and that foundation is unshakable. This gives you the freedom to lead with authenticity, to speak your truth without fear, and to guide others with clarity and purpose. You don't need to chase recognition or prove yourself to anyone. The work you've done in silence has already proven it. This is your time to own your authority, to stand firm in your identity, and to lead with the confidence of someone who knows exactly who they are and why they're here. Every decision you make, every step you take, is now infused with the power of that realization. You don't just have authority, you embody it. If this message resonates with you, comment stillness below. It's time to honor the path you've walked, to recognize the strength you've built, and to fully embrace the authority you've earned. You were shaped in solitude for a reason, and now, the world is ready to see what you become. Your journey matters, your growth matters, and your leadership, rooted in the quiet, unseen moments, will inspire others to trust their own path. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You already have all the authority you need. The stillness was never empty. It was your foundation, and now it's your strength. Now is the divine time. You feel it, don't you? That inner nudge, that whisper that says something has changed. It's not just a passing feeling. It's a deep knowing that the time you've been waiting for is finally here. For so long, it seemed as though nothing was moving. You questioned why your efforts weren't bearing fruit, why the doors you knocked on stayed shut. You wondered if the struggles were for nothing, but now there's a shift in the air. It's subtle but undeniable. You're not the only one who notices it. The people around you can sense it too, even if they don't know exactly what it is. They're beginning to look at you differently, as if they can tell you're on the brink of something extraordinary. And the truth is, you are. This is the moment you've been prepared for, the moment when everything starts to fall into place. You're not just stepping forward, you're stepping into divine timing. The journey here hasn't been easy. You faced obstacles that felt insurmountable. There were times when you questioned everything, your purpose, your path, and even your worth. You've endured seasons of silence, seasons of waiting, seasons where it felt like nothing was happening no matter how hard you tried. It's been exhausting, hasn't it? To keep showing up when the world seemed to offer no encouragement, to keep believing when doubt was screaming in your ear. But those challenges weren't meant to break you. They were meant to shape you. Each setback, each closed door, each long night of questioning was a piece of the puzzle, preparing you for what's ahead. It's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture in the midst of struggle, but when you look back now, you see it. The waiting wasn't wasted. It was a divine setup, orchestrating the perfect moment for you to step forward. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1 reminds us, "To everything there's a season and a time to every purpose under heaven." This isn't just a poetic sentiment. It's a profound truth. For every dream, every calling, every step you're meant to take, there is a divinely appointed time. And that time, chosen one, is now. You may have felt like you were waiting forever, but divine timing doesn't operate on human clocks. It moves according to a rhythm that ensures you're not just ready, but perfectly positioned. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before God called him to lead. Joseph endured years of imprisonment before stepping into his role as a leader. Their times of preparation seemed endless, but when their moment came, it was undeniable. And just like them, you've been prepared for this. Not a moment too soon, and not a moment too late. Little things are beginning to shift. People you haven't heard from in years suddenly reach out. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach are now right in front of you. Doors that were tightly shut are slowly opening. It's not a coincidence. It's confirmation. The energy around you is different because you're stepping into alignment with your purpose. And it's not just external changes. It's internal too. You feel more certain, more grounded, more ready than you ever have before. The timing is no longer something you question. You know, deep down, that this is a moment. You were born for this, not to dominate, but to elevate. The world needs leaders like you, leaders who guide with love, who inspire transformation, and who create lasting change. The crown you wear is not for control, it's for service. So step forward with confidence. Your presence is the answer the world has been waiting for. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Like this video and comment. I am chosen to let this message anchor in your soul. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. 4 full prophetic revelations daily. Join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into full light. The crown is yours. The time is now.